Good evening, all. We are here. We are live. It's magical. Feedback, of course, send out the link. But for those on YouTube, I actually believe if you post this link like into somebody's um, text or whatever the case may be, they will literally be able to pull up the live broadcast if I remember correctly. So please feel free to do so. And on Facebook, of course, Facebook is its own entity, and you can get to those things as uh, just by clicking on the page and that type of thing. It is 9 Central Standard Time. I am not one of those broadcasters who wants to wait for come in the room and let's get numbers or whatever. I broadcast because it's saved on both platforms, Facebook and YouTube, and you can watch it at your leisure. If you want to catch any of our Let's Chat from previous times, you can do it on Facebook, but please understand that means scrolling down, and that could be quite tedious. So I encourage you, even if you follow me on or you're connected to me on Facebook, also add on my YouTube channel. And let me pop this brand up so you know what you're looking for. This would be the name of the YouTube channel there, so that you can get right to it. Once you type in Victory in Christ, good evening to you. Once you type in Victory in Christ broadcasting channel with a hyphen there, that logo should pop up. If you don't see me, you'll see the logo, so you'll know you're on the right channel. I'll leave that up just for a quick second. Good evening to all those who are watching on Facebook and on YouTube. Again, glad to have you with us. If you ever watch my Thursday night broadcast, you probably got a pretty good rhythm if you've watched enough of them, kind of what I like to do. But just in case you haven't, let me fill you in. Let me bring you up to speed very quickly, very quickly. The whole point of this, to whomever is watching, is to challenge our status quo assumptions or presumptions, starting fundamentally with how we define terms, because how we define terms are connotation, right? Not our denotation. Because most of us, if we're honest, we speak from, let me call it a community slang. We speak to people that we generally know, even on social media, even though our audiences may be broad. I have some thousand some odd accounts connected to my Facebook page. But the reality of it is, I'm still communicating in a vacuum. I'm still using terms pretty much defined from my childhood and in my early adult years. Now, I've gotten some education and things, and so some of those terms have been redefined and all that. But most of the community style terms, I still have the same meaning. So every once in a while, I'll do a broadcast and I'll intentionally use a word or a phrase like "keep it real" that is meant to really challenge what we mean. I don't think anybody has an argument with "keep" or "it," but I think if we're honest, right? You know me, I come right to the point immediately. I venture to say that most people, when they're saying things, I'm going to be realistic, or I'm going to keep it real, I think most people are assuming that the word real has a shared meaning, and that few of us ever challenge that meaning. And I just want people to keep it real. I just want people to be 100. which is kind of the phrase that was born out of the keep it real genre of slang phrases, right? Because keep it real is a slang phrase. I just keep it 100, which was another way of categorizing it, which I would assume was meant to give it a more precise meaning. Keep it 100, but even then, I could ask you, what do you mean by 100? 100%? Do you mean 100 of out of 1,000? Do you mean 100 as to say full, complete? Keep it complete? Again, I don't want to confuse the discussion, but I'm curious more than anything, because I use the phrase keep it real. I'm gonna be, well, I'm not a fan of realistic. Somebody asked me about that earlier this week. Oh, you're realistic. And I said, no, I'm truthistic. I won't get into that at this moment. I tend to be more truthistic because I've done broadcast on truth on Tuesday and, well, it used to be Tuesday, but now Wednesday night and Thursday night. So you can follow up with that. But truth, matter of fact, I was just looking at an old broadcast I did last year, almost a year ago, about the truth and my truth. So when I say I'm truthistic, I keep it truthful, full of truth, which is literally what that means. I go from a position of what is objective. That said, let's just have a little fun, shall we? Real, by definition, and I'm curious to see what you got to say. Type your responses. Let's look at it. So when you say keep it real, do you mean keep it actual? Do you mean keep it historical? Do you mean keep it tangible? And these are synonyms. So when you say I'm gonna keep it real, excuse me, I'm gonna keep it substantial. Is that what you mean? I'm gonna keep it tangible. I'm gonna keep it actual, meaning it actually is. It's real. It truly exists. Okay, maybe not that. How about this one? I'm gonna keep it real. Maybe this one is closer to what you're saying. I'm gonna keep it genuine. I'm gonna keep it authentic. I'm going to keep it honest to goodness. I'm going to keep it heartfelt, true, sincere. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it sincere. I'm going to keep it earnest. And that word true, don't be deceived, is not truth in that sense. No. That word true, another word would be sincere or earnest. I'm going to be wholehearted. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be fully, wholeheartedly given to it. Or maybe you mean from a verb standpoint, adverb, excuse me, extremely. I'm going to be extremely clear, adverb, extremely clear, extremely honest. It's exceedingly actual. Just for the sake of it, how about realistic? Not too much here. Similar words, representing familiarly, familiar, that word always kills me, familiar things in a way that is accurate or true to life. That's one definition. True to life. I'm realistic. I'm lifelike. I'm true, truthful, faithful, real life, close. Genuine. Sound familiar? Authentic. Okay? I'm keeping it realistic. I'm keeping it genuine. I'm being faithful to what it is. Genuine. Lifelike. And in that sense, true. See? In that sense, true. Or I'm keeping it practical. I'm keeping it down to earth, realistic, right? I'm being realistic. I'm being down to earth. I'm being sensible. I'm being level-headed. I'm being clear-sighted. I'm really curious as to what do you all mean? I gave you a lot of words there. What do you mean? When you say keep it real, what do you mean? When you say I'm being realistic, what are you actually saying? And when you get a lot, yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey, whenever you talk to me, keep it real. Keep it real. Don't sugarcoat. Don't sugarcoat. Don't lie. Keep it real. Y'all ready? Let me get some water. Let me get some water. Here we go. You know how I do. Now, from my experience, and I could be wrong, but this is my experience. When I've heard that phrase, and even as I've admitted, used it, keep it real is not so much about genuine, though I could argue that I had genuine in mind, that I was going to definitely be genuine. I wasn't necessarily thinking about being heartfelt, though some of the things I said behind keeping it real was certainly something I really meant. So it was definitely heartfelt. If I'm honest, let me use me. If I'm honest, what I was saying is I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it 100. 100. The implication of the phrase is I'm not going to lie. And therefore, everything I say after I say a phrase like keep it real is supposed to be taken as, you guessed it, true. Watch this though, not simply my truth, the truth. Is anybody willing to speak up and admit that you have had people keep it real? You have people say, you know what, we got to be realistic. But when they got done with what they classified as realistic, when they got done keeping it real, you had some disagreement. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me, but I'll talk to you. That's what I'm here to do. The fact is, I've had people say, the fact is, the truth is, the objective reality, objective, not gauge truth, is, people have used that phrase many times, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, probably millions of times. And all they really stated, get in trouble, Gabe, I will do it, was their opinion. Heartfelt, genuine. They really meant it. Then they said it. But if we're honest about it, when you and I and others have used those phrases, what we really end up sharing and what we were thinking in the first place was not necessarily anything that was grounded in truth. You couldn't go and research it. You couldn't go and get evidence. It was just how we felt. I told you I don't waste time. I come to it right off. So it makes me wonder about the phrase. I'm not necessarily saying the phrase is wrong, but what I'm more than suggesting is that we might want to, in our communication, really consider what we mean and what others mean when they say that. I wonder what it would be like the next time you're having a conversation with somebody. It's one of those kind of uncomfortable conversations, and they have some disagreement with what you're saying, or they agree with you about some disagreement you guys have with someone else. and they use that phrase, look, I'm just going to keep it real. I wonder after tonight, are you going to find yourself wondering to yourself, are they going to tell me their opinion? Or are they going to tell me something that I can corroborate, something that I can get evidence for? Are they going to back up what they say with evidence, or are they going to very heartfelt, very intensely, simply tell me their feeling? And then maybe support it with their personal experience. No disrespect, but personal experience is often unreliable because your story can change. Whether you want to admit it or not, my story can change. No, Gabe, you don't understand. I got experiences that substantiate. So when I say keep it real, I'm talking from experience. But feelings and experiences are unreliable. Not too many court cases are going to be won by people who have nothing more to present to the judge and to the jury but their feelings and their experiences. Going to be really hard to win in a place where evidence is king. And even now, unfortunately, these days, I'm not going to get in my soapbox, but even evidence, I mean, video evidence doesn't always net you a win. So if something as conclusive as video evidence doesn't necessarily get you a win because of this thing called we coming to it, I'm just giving you a hint where we're going. Interpretation. Because of interpretation, then we have to stop for a second and examine when we say and when others say to us, keep it real. Are we about to hear something? Are we about to say something that we're going to be able to truly substantiate? Are we about to hear something from somebody we love dearly? Might be our bestie best of friend. This person loves us so dear, I don't even know how we survived birth without them. I mean, they're so close to us. They're closer to us than the very skin on our body. I don't know how close you want me to make them, but they're so close, you breathe out and they breathe in. I mean, that's how close you are. And yet, I hope I'm challenging your thinking that the next time they say, I'm going to keep it real, I'm about to be realistic about this thing, or you need to be realistic, that something in your head causes you to stop for a second and ask, are they about to tell me their opinion? And they're going to package it with great intensity, like Gabe is speaking with now. They're going to say it in such a way that's going to convince me that it must be something that I should believe. Well, Gabe, you're just being frivolous. Oh, I am? You do know that when people make statements like keep it real, they are making that statement because they sincerely, see how I did that right there? They genuinely, see I used another one, synonym, they genuinely want to hear the truth. I have never known someone who said, hey, tell me the truth, keep it real. Matter of fact, they often package those phrases together. Tell me the truth, keep it 100, be real. So they define for you and for me, when they say it, what they really want is actually the truth. They want the truth. They don't want our opinion. They want the truth. So now we got to have a conversation about what in the world is truth. Now, I did a whole broadcast on this, but let me go through it again real quick. Because I believe in the entirety of my 48 years on this planet that most of us, including myself, is honestly, genuinely, sincerely, not as interested in truth as we are in well-meant opinion. Woo! This is fun. I'm beginning to believe, and it took me 48 years to get here, that most people are far more interested and well presented, well articulated opinion than in boring, humdrum, monotone spoken truth. You want to give me an example? Of course you do. Vaccine. Vaccine. What's the truth? What's the facts? Statistically speaking, unless you have some kind of medical issue, there's not one American-born citizen. Listen to what I'm saying, because I don't want to hear anybody, well, yeah, naturally, you know. No, American-born, born in this country, citizen that has not been vaccinated for something. Not one. There is not one natural-born American citizen that has not been vaccinated for something, period. Period. Which is why we don't have polio, mumps and measles in an epidemic, pandemic level. That's why those things have been basically eradicated because of vaccines. Pure, unadulterated, you can look it up, facts. Facts. Straight, as my son would say, straight facts. Vaccines have been around for hundreds of years, and factually, they knock out pandemics. Factually. That's pure facts. I'm 48 years old. I've been getting vaccinated since probably 3 or 4 years old. Matter of fact, since birth. Since birth. But don't take my experience for it. The facts are in. My son got the same vaccinations, plus a couple of others, that I got. And my parents got some of the same vaccinations that I got. And they're 70. Don't tell me that vaccinations don't do what vaccinations are meant to do. Now, you can tell me about the Tuskegee experiment. I hear you. I'm not discrediting it. But the fact is, it doesn't change the facts. And yet, for the last 2 years, we have had a bunch of people keeping it real. Good evening to you. We've had a bunch of people running around this country, jumping on their social media platform pages and TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and on and on and on, and spewing nothing but emotion-filled, quite sincere, quite real in that sense, quite genuine in the sense of them being sincere. They were real. That's another synonym for real is sincere. But were they being full of truth? No. 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 They were being political, but they weren't being truth-filled. You want me to give you another one? Racism. We have historical fact in this country of racism. I know you don't like the subjects, but when we talk about keeping it real, we're usually not talking about something joyous and happy. We're talking about subjects and situations that are unhappy. I don't think I've ever used the phrase keep it real when I wanted somebody to keep it real about something that was all wonderful. Of course, they were going to keep that real. When we say keep it real, or I'm going to be realistic about, we need to be realistic, we're usually talking about uncomfortable subjects. And racism in this country was and is a fact that can be corroborated from what people are being paid between being brown and black people as opposed to those who are not brown and black. We heard President number 45 literally make racist statements directed at 4 individual women. Some born in this country, natural citizens, telling them to go back to their country of origin, and they were born here. I've seen racism directly with my own eyes. But again, let's not go by Gabe's experience. Fine. We have documentation of racism in this country. It is a fact. And if you're listening to me and you're white, you have to admit it's a fact. And if you don't want to admit it's a fact, you want me to keep it real, but you're not willing to accept the fact that racism is a fact, then you are a person who does not really want Gabe to keep it real. Because real, and how I define it, and I'm challenging you on how you define it, should be truth. But that's the assumption, right? Come on, somebody talk to me. That's the assumption. When somebody says to you, I'm about to keep it real, you think they're going to tell you facts. I know what I'm talking about. I ain't been on the planet 5 days. I've been here 48 years and counting. And when they use the phrases, once again, they are using the phrases with the assumption that you're going to anticipate that what you're about to say or what they're about to say to you can be substantiated. You can find evidence for what they're going to say. Facts. Facts. Straight facts. Now, I cannot have this conversation with you unless I'm willing to deal with the pink elephant in the room. And the pink elephant in the room is what we call interpretation. Because you can, yes, present facts, but you can present facts, and the people who are presenting the facts, as well as the people who are hearing the facts, hearing the corroborated information, can interpret it in a way that they choose to interpret it. Even statistical analysis. Now, I am a psychology major. I have a degree. And I had to take statistics. And so I know that from an intellectual standpoint. I'm not trying to get into that. But I do know that you have to be careful how you interpret facts. I know this. You can present statistics, but there is a way that you can present statistics that is really still just opinion. And there are, and I won't get into this because I'll go off on it if I do, there are news articles that are not published in professional journals. Hear what I'm saying? I'm giving you insight. I'm giving you insight. For example, Fox News. Fox News presents themselves as a news channel. Fox News. Up until they got a big $1.3 billion lawsuit against them, wanted you to believe that they were a legit news station, 24 hours a day, news all day long, right? Well, then they got sued for $1.3 billion. And when they got sued, the lawyers for Fox News came out and said, we are not a news channel. We are for entertainment. Why am I mentioning Fox News? Because up until that moment, at least that I know of, they were presenting facts. They were presenting statistics. They were trying to inform the public that they were legit until they got sued for $1.3 billion. And then they said, well, hold on, wait a minute. We're not actually news. We're not necessarily presenting facts. In my assessment, we're not really keeping it real. We're not keeping it real. Now, of course, you know the problem. Millions upon millions of viewers are watching them, still convinced that they are legit news because their channel is called Fox News. Now, just to be fair, wow, I heard that. Just to be fair, it doesn't necessarily mean, watch this now, don't think I'm going to say CNN and MSNBC. No. It doesn't necessarily mean that your local news is always giving you straight facts either. I dabbled a little bit in some journalism. I know something about it. I'm a person who writes from time to time. And as objective, watch this now. I know this was deeper than you thought I would go. As objective as the person who is sitting in front of you on whatever local news you're watching is supposed to be. If you listen close enough, you will hear their opinion. Yeah. I had a journalist tell me, a truth gauge, we're supposed to be, watch this word, I love this word, objective. We're supposed to just report as we report. That's all we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be objective. No matter what the storyline is, no matter how hard it is to report the storyline, let's say about some child who was abused and found murdered. Yeah, I know it's gory, but stay with me. They are supposed to report that story as clear-headed and objectively as possible. But because they're human, they can't always help, as they explained to me, their interpretation. They can't always keep their feelings out of the articulation of the story. So now let's go all the way back, because I done laid it out on you now. I'm almost done. When somebody says, I'm going to keep it real, let me ask you this question. What standard do you hold them to as they get ready to express the real? Oh, let me ask you again. You didn't get it. What standard do you hold them to when they use that word real or realistic? What standard? Do you have one? Have you ever thought to get one? Do you ever say, hold on now, you're going to keep it real. Let me tell you what I mean. That means you're about to tell me the bona fide, that's another word for real, the bona fide, unadulterated truth. I don't want your emotion. I don't want your feeling. I want the truth. Have you ever challenged them? I don't mean just your children. I don't mean just your spouse when you suspect that they've done something wrong. I know we do it then. But do you challenge your friends, your bestie? Do you challenge your siblings? Do you challenge your parents when you're grown? I know I said it. Because we just believe Big Mama can't ever speak a lie. Big Mama can never lie. She can't lie to me. That's Big Mama. So when Big Mama tell you, come on in, or Medea, or whatever you call her, Big Daddy say, come sit down, let me talk to you. And they say, I'm going to keep it real with you. Do you at least in here, you may not want to do it out your mouth, but does something click in your head to check and fact check? Oh, there it is, fact check. Do you fact check? Do you just take it because of who's speaking it? Oh, you didn't expect me to do it, but I got to do my job. Did you ever bother to ask yourself, why is it that what they're saying, I should believe it? Because that's my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, because this is a person I've been friends with for 37 years. Is that why you believe it? Because you like them, they like you, you love them, they love you, so you just already told yourself No matter what they say, they would never lie. So when they say keep it real, you just already believe them. It doesn't even matter what they say. If that's you, you need to listen to this broadcast. Soon as I stop, go back and listen over and over and over till it opens up your eyes. Until you start questioning your own standard of what you think real actually means. Is it possible? Let me get in trouble some more. I ain't put my foot in my mouth yet. Is it possible that some of the very failures that you've experienced in your life is because you just automatically believed when somebody told you they were keeping it real? Excuse me. Is it possible that you just assumed that it was coming out of a reliable vessel, so you just took it face value? You didn't get a second opinion. You didn't go and do your research. You didn't do your homework. I'm just about done. That's the whole point, ladies and gentlemen. That's my point tonight. Have you done the work? And have you been listening to people so blindly and so willing to believe whatever they say? Let's just be honest, not necessarily because you're lazy, though if you're listening to me and you're honest, Gabe, that's just too much, you're lazy. I'm speaking specifically to those people who feel like I ain't got no time for all that. I just need people to be real and tell me the truth. You're being lazy and you deserve what you get. Yeah, I said it. Come for me. Come for me. You think I'm scared? Come for me. If you're too lazy to check and to cooperate and to fact check what people say, and you take it and it ends up hurting you in some form or fashion, you deserve what you got because you didn't do your due diligence to make sure that what was coming out of their mouths, and they meant it sincerely, and they said it with great sincerity. Their face was all crinkled up when they said it. They was talking like this, and they were saying, girl, you know I would never lie to you, girl, and I love you, and you know he ain't good for you. And man, you better leave her alone, man. Man, I heard, man. Man, I heard from a reliable source. Did you go check it? Did you go fish it out? Are you about to lose your marriage? Are you about to give up your job? Are you about to kick your child out? Are you about to get rid of your husband or your wife? Are you about to leave your community because of behind something that somebody said and you didn't fact check it? Do you understand how serious this can get? Do you know there are people who regret going through divorce right now because they listened to some stupid advice that was spoken under the banner, under the heading of keep it real? And they believed them and they lost their marriage? No, they didn't lose it. They gave it away. They forfeited it. They sold it down the river. Because somebody said, I'm going to keep it real. And there are others who got into relationships. There are others who got into business ventures behind somebody saying, I'm going to keep it real. You need this money. I'm sitting there working with a client today, and we go out to the client's homes. And this client lives in a group home setting. And I'm working with him to get his application for an apartment together. And I'm listening to another client because for some reason he felt the need to have his phone on speakerphone. And I pretty much gathered what was happening. Whoever he was talking to is trying to drag him into a business venture. I've had those conversations and I accepted the information that I was told, and I'm even calling it information trying to be nice. And those business ventures were not legit. They were not real. They were not substantial. They did not produce what they said they were going to produce. But trust me, them people spoke quick, with intensity, and I was like, yeah. I was that lazy person who didn't want to go do my homework. I was that lazy person who didn't want to go find out about pyramid schemes. Oh, I'm going to tell my business, you know me. I'm going to be transparent about it. Excuse me. I was that person. I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to turn my little bit into a lot of it. So yeah, okay. And I got into those ventures in my 20s, early 30s. Yeah. Doling out money I couldn't afford. They was keeping it real. Gabe, if you want to get ahead, this is what you got to do. Okay. Dumping money into schemes. And when I was listening to that young lady on that phone going 100 miles an hour, yeah, this is how you get your money, and this, and I almost just walked over there. Excuse me, man. Hold on. Hey, lady. Hold on. Let me talk with you. Now, he's not my client. It's none of my business, so I left him alone. Because by the time I got there, it sounded like he was already got him. She had him. She was talking quick, too. I mean, and he was going, yeah. She had it. And I'm not saying every fast talker is a schemer. I'm just saying. Now, I hope it worked out for the young man. I don't know him. I've only been introduced to him. I hope it worked out for him. I really do. When I go to car dealerships, on the couple occasions that I've done so to look at buying a car, I don't want to hear fast talk. I don't even want to hear the phrase keeping it real. I know. Oh, I used to fall for it. Yeah, you know now, Mr. Matthews, I'm going to keep it real. Yeah, keep it real with me, man. Keep it real with me. Yeah, keep it real. I was a sucker. You know, they say one born every minute. I was a sucker. I'm going to go a little deeper. You don't think I can? Watch this. Even going to the doctor, I didn't know back in the day that I still had a responsibility that when the doctor was keeping it real, that I had a responsibility to do a little bit of reading, to do a little bit of research, to make sure that what the doctor was saying to me was sound, to get a second opinion on things that I didn't quite understand. But I was that dude that was doing exactly what I just told you some of y'all do. I was being lazy. So when the doctor said, you know what, I'm gonna have to keep it real with you, I was like, okay, doc, whatever you want to tell me, I believe you. That was me. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, I believe whatever you tell me. They were keeping it real. Why? They're smarter than me. Why would I not test what they say? They keeping it real, you know. They're keeping it 100. Keeping it truthful. Yeah. And I'm not suggesting that they were trying to pull the wool over my eyes. But let's just be real. Sometimes people in the medical field, they ain't got a lot of time. They seeing a bunch of patients. They look at your chart, they walk in, ma'am, sir, blah, blah, blah. Do this, walk out. I'm not trying to make you scared of doctors, because I know the heritage for black folks, especially here in the South. Them black folks didn't believe nothing there for good reason. Because them doctors wasn't always keeping it real. They wasn't keeping it on level and truthful. And that fear still permeates the black community. So I'm not here to be disrespectful. But the truth of the matter is second opinion. Why? Because no matter how sincere, that's another word for real, no matter how genuine, that's another word for real, the person may be, including Gabe. You've got to challenge No matter how intense my presentation, I'm just an intense person. I try to tell people I'm always intense about something. That's just my personality. I have an intense personality. Period. We can talk about sports. I talk about sports with intensity. We talk about life, children, whatever. I have an intense personality. Even when I'm joking, clowning around, I have an intense personality. It just is what it is. But my intensity does not necessarily mean I am being full of truth. You understand? And I'm hoping you get my point. We're going to end early tonight. I hope you get my point. Sometimes you've got to test the keep it real statement. You got to test it. Okay, how do we test it? I'm glad you asked. Because I've already told you that the issue is going to be interpretation. What you have to do, and what I have to do, is try to ground as much of what we're hearing, even in here, in facts. That means we're going to, listen to me now, let me calm it down. We're going to have to develop resources. For example, if you want to understand something medical, now I know it's difficult. There's all kind of terminology. I recommend websites like WebMD. And I'm not saying they're 100% accurate on everything. My experience, and I can't dismiss my experience. I'm not telling you to dismiss your experience. My experience has been, I'll be honest, they've been pretty much 100. See how I did that? The one thing about WebMD and websites like that is they're unemotional. They're unemotional. They don't have opinions in them. Here are the symptoms. If you have these symptoms, you need to see your physician. Another thing when it comes to the medical is you want to look at information that's going to refer you to the medical field. If the situation you're looking at appears to be serious, you hope at some point it says, and you need to seek a doctor. That's responsible. So another one of the ways to know if a source of information is at least potentially factual, real, full of truth, is not just is it full of statistics, but is it objective? That's the word. Is it objective? Is it calling your attention to some individual? Or is it calling your attention to the information itself? There it is. Let me give it to you again. Is it calling your attention to the information? Or is it attempting to try to get your attention on yourself or on some other individual or some group of individuals? If the whole idea is just to get you to believe them, you got to stay away from it. Or at the very least, set them aside as a potential confirmation. But I wouldn't take their word 100%. I don't mean any disrespect. I got a lot of people who do self-help and got 6-month certificates on my Facebook page. If you're watching this, I don't mean any disrespect to you. As a matter of fact, you should agree with me. I am not a particular fan of that genre, not just because I have an education in psychology, whatever. The reason why I'm not is because 90% of what those people present is themselves. Tell me I'm wrong. Their experiences and the experiences of their people, the testimonials of their people. Tell me I'm wrong. 80 to 90% of what you get out of those self-help, even Ayana, whatever her name is, Oprah Winfrey, all the rest of them writing books, all of them. Most of what you get, yes, from Steve Harvey, and I know some of you love Ask Steve. Most of what you get from them is them. You know what the problem is with that? There are no two people on the planet who are the same. Even identical twins are ultimately themselves individually. So the notion that Steve Harvey or Ayana or Oprah Winfrey or Richard Simmons or whoever can tell me about them and what they tell me about them, or what they tell me about Sally, Sue, and Jane, who use their product, therefore, or did their thing that they told them to do, and therefore it should work for me. How can I rely on that when Sally, Sue, and Jane are people I don't even know? I don't know Tony Robbins. I don't know Steve Harvey. I don't know Oprah Winfrey. Well, Gabe, they're rich. What does that mean? So when Steve Harvey keeps it real, we should believe him because he's rich? See, that's the whole point of the broadcasts, is to challenge the assumptions and presumptions. So I'm supposed to believe Steve Harvey because he speaks like real, like, let me tell you. See, no, let me help y'all out. This is how he talks. You know it. Let me help you out right here. See, let me tell you. See, rich people, this. And if you want to be rich, you have to do this. And rich people ain't sitting around. And rich people, Paris Hilton, heiress, rich. If there's one person who didn't get rich like Steve Harvey says, then I can't take what Steve Harvey says to be 100. I can't. There are some people who are rich because they won the lottery. Steve, they got lucky, for those who believe that kind of thing. Some people inherited their wealth. So not everybody, Steve, went from being poor to wealthy. Not everybody, Steve, has the talents and the capacity and the capability to turn those talents into wealth. Steve, oh, I've watched the show, Ask Steve, and he keeping it real. I'm gonna keep it real about your marriage. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna tell you. You gotta be realistic. You gotta. And even Steve will tell you that ain't realistic. Why is Steve saying that? Because Steve knows that no guru, that's what I call you, no self-help person, in fact, actually has all the answers to all the questions. None do. None do. I don't care how personally successful they are. So when you say keep it real, what you're saying is, Gabe, I'm going to have to actually step up to the plate in my own life. Yes. There it is. You're going to have to stop taking a back seat and just wait for somebody to tell you what it is and then go, okay, and that's it. I have a lot of people, I should say a lot. I have quite a few people in my life, and I'll end with this, that I trust. I really do. Hear me, because you might be watching. You might be one of them watching me. I trust you, but don't take it as a disrespect because I choose to do some research. Yes, I trust what you say to me. You don't even have to say, keep it real or be realistic. I hear you. If I trust you, I've come to trust you. But understand, I reserve the right to do my own research. It doesn't mean I'm going to come at you crazy if I find that what you shared with me was not accurate. I'm just going to say, well, here's what my research bore out. And if you're my friend, yeah, I'm going to say it. If you're Gabe Matthews' friend, you better be able to hang. You better be able to hold up. And if you're too worried about me saying something, quote, negative to you, we're probably not friends. Not truly. You might like me and I might like you, but we're not actually friends because my actual friends can take it when I say, I disagree. My actual friends can handle when I say, but I got another route to take. My actual friends don't fall out with me because I don't do it the way they say. I don't care how real they kept it with me. My actual friends. Yeah, I said it. Actual. My real. See, that's another synonym for real. My genuine friends understand my personality and they understand how I get down. And they know that I'm going to have to do a little bit more research. I know more about high blood pressure probably than some nurses. Why? Because I'm a high blood pressure hypertension sufferer. I'm snacking on unsalted pistachio nuts all day long as something to eat on that won't raise my blood pressure unsalted, but also pistachio nuts is good at lowering blood pressure. Run, tell that. WebMD, baby. WebMD right there. I don't trust my life 100% in anybody's hands. I don't. That's unfair to them. It's unfair to me. So I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do my due diligence. And if I choose not to do my due diligence and I take what you say to me, keeping it real, then it's on me if it doesn't work out. It's not on you. Excuse me. But Gabe, what if they lie to you? That was on me. I should have vetted it. I should have looked at it. I should have researched it. On me. I end with that. I hope this talk jogged something in your mind. I know this seemed like an obscure subject, but hopefully I've grounded it enough for you to be able to go and not just take my word for it. Go look it up. Look up the definitions. See if the synonyms I gave you are real synonyms. Do some conversations with yourself. Talk to yourself about what you think about this keep it real idea. Being realistic, maybe it's a phrase you might stop using. All right. Have a great weekend. See you next week.